Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Hi, I'm Rob from robnophoto.com, and I thought it would be a good time to talk about the things I love and hate about my Canon 600d T3i digital SLR that I got at Christmas. Guess what? So it's the 1st of September today, so what's that? That's 9 months I've had it, and I think that's probably quite a good spell to try and impart some advice to people who, if you're thinking about buying a 600d or T3i, these are the things to think about. So I thought I'd start off with the things that I really love, really like about the 600d T3i. The first thing is the sensor. Remember, I've come from a 350d, a Rebel XT, which is several generations before, and the 18 megapixel sensor on this beauty is amazing. It means you can crop in so much and still have so much detail left for blowing things up. You know, it's like having a whole another level of zoom for your photos. It's also incredibly good at high ISOs as well. You know, the Rebel XT 350d topped out at 1600 and was probably only really useful. Just stopped off at 800, where this thing, you can push it to 3200, and it's still pretty good. The screen, oh gosh, the screen on the back. What can I say about the screen? It is absolutely amazing. It's so big and so sharp for reviewing your pictures. Looking at the different information about your pictures. It's just so much better than the one on my 350d, and the fact that it swivels around is a godsend as well. If you're into making videos for YouTube or anything, and you're working basically by yourself, so you're having to frame the picture, the fact that you can turn the screen round so you can look at it, so when you're in front of the camera you can see what the camera can see, is so good. I used to waste so much time trying to do videos with cameras that didn't have swivel screens, and you'd set it up, you'd do a little recording, you'd go around, you'd check the camera to make sure that your angle was okay, you'd adjust it, you'd do another little test recording, you'd have a look, you'd get it right, and then you'd walk past and you'd kick your tripod so the camera moved, and you'd have to say it all again. So the fact that you can move this screen is so good, and the fact that you can use it for in live mode, so you're actually looking at the screen to do focusing, and you can zoom in on the screen. You can, using digital zoom to check the focus, to get a really fine focus, and then zoom back out again. It takes all the guesswork out of taking videos in a still situation where your subject isn't moving, or stills as well in the same sort of thing. So that screen is absolutely amazing. My menu. I love my menu. So what happens now, I think this is probably on all Canons now. You know how normally you, when you press a menu button on a camera, let's fire it up, and then you've got like loads of different, you can probably just about see that, you've got loads of different things to scroll through to find what you particularly want to change, and it might be the white balance, it might be something like, you might want to format the card, it might be exposure compensation, you might want to change the quality from RAW to something or other. Well, what you do on the 600D is that you have your own menu where you put the things that you change all the time in that menu, so they're always there, so they're instantly. So for example, on mine, at the top I've got exposure compensation for when I'm doing my HDRs. I've got mirror lockup, so if I've got the camera on the tripod doing a longer exposure, I can hit that instead of having to go into the custom functions. Format, because you use that button a lot, don't you? Quality, so if I'm in a situation where I know I'm going to be taking lots and lots of photographs, then often I'll go from RAW to JPEG. Say it's at a party or something like that where the quality doesn't matter that much. What else do I have? Custom white balance, because I'm always doing a custom white balance, and then so I have those things, and I use them all the time, and I very rarely have to go searching through all the other menus to get to the ones I want. They're right there in my own little customized menu, and that is absolutely brilliant. Love the size and the weight of the 600D. Very light, very small. Slightly bigger than the 350D, but I like small cameras. I come from small bridge cameras like the Fujifilm S5700, and I don't think cameras need to be big. It's nice, small, lightweight. You can walk around with it on your shoulder all day with a spare lens, and you don't really know it's there. Wireless flash control is amazing. If you get a compatible Canon flash or something like the Yongnuo 565EX, the fact that you can use the built-in flash as a commander unit to not only just fire another flash, but to control the exposure of that other flash as well, it just blows my mind. It's super easy to do, super reliable as long as you're fairly close in an indoor environment, and you can do ETTL, so you can do automatic flash with no wires, no pocket wizards, no nothing. It's all done through the built-in flash, and that's great. And it's a great introduction to off-camera flash where you don't get put off because everything kind of will look good. When you're doing it manually, you can get it wrong quite a few times, and that is just absolutely brilliant. Auto ISO. I know Nikons have had this for a long time, but the fact that you can go into the settings and instead of having to say I'm at ISO 200, 400, 800, etc., you can say to the camera, well, look, I'm shooting in aperture priority mode, so I'm going to choose the aperture that I want for my depth of field, for my artistic decision, or maybe you're in shutter priority mode. And what the camera will do if you're in auto ISO mode, it will keep an eye on the shutter speed, and if your shutter speed gets a little bit long compared to your focal length, so as you're zooming in, it will make sure it bumps up the ISO to keep the shutter speed fast, which is such a boon. And it means that you can be shooting in like manual mode, where you're choosing the aperture, you're choosing the shutter speed, so you're controlling your artistic vision for that particular photograph, and the camera will adjust the ISO up and down as like the third point in the exposure triangle to make sure you're getting acceptable exposures. And it is such a help to fast shooting, and I'm sure I get a lot more keepers now because I don't accidentally get a too long shutter speed, because I was in too lower ISO. So that's really, really good. I really like the fact that we've got a mic input. So when you're doing DSLR video, if you want to, you can plug an external mic into your camera, and you've also got manual control over the audio levels, so you can turn auto gain off, and that means you can really get, if you need it, you can get good high quality audio recorded straight into the camera, and that's cool. But I have to say probably the biggest thing I love about the 600D T3i is the HD video. It is unbelievable. 1080p, 24 frames a second. You can have manual control over the exposure, so you can be running at a 50th of a second, so it's like the movies basically. And if there's one thing that's helped me over the last several months in producing a lot more quality, well, in inverted commas, quality content for YouTube, it's been the fact that I can produce HD video using this incredibly easily and incredibly quickly. And the performance is just amazing. When you put your Canon glass on, like the 40mm 2.8 or the 50mm 1.8, you can get that shallow depth of field look, and it kind of really transforms the way you use your camera, I think, and I've been really, really chuffed about that. So that's the things I love about the 600D. Next, let's talk about the things that I'm not so fond about. Okay, so the things I don't like, the things I hate about the 600D. Actually, hate's a strong word. I probably don't really hate much about, well, there's a couple of things I do hate about the camera. First one is the position of where the movie selector is on the command dial, on the or scene select dial around here. So aperture priority is there. That's one I'm in most of the time, or shutter priority. I kind of flick back between those, and maybe manual mode every now and again. But if I want to shoot a movie, I've got to click this all the way around to there, and then all the way back again when I want to go back to those. And that is a real pain. Why they couldn't have put movie mode above depth of field aperture priority, whatever it is, that one up there, I just don't know. It would have saved me so much time, because you could have gone click, 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 and then click, click, click. As of now, it's like I've got to click all the way around and all the way back, and it is a reet pain. So I don't like that. I don't like the way, the lack of, or the difficulty in focusing in movie mode as well. But basically, when you're doing movies, you're going to be manual focusing, so you're going to be turning the focus ring on your lens, and that is really tricky to do properly. And I just find it really fiddly, and half the time I get it out of focus. So that's why I love the HD video for where we're stuck in a situation where the camera's somewhere, and say like this sort of thing, where the camera's here, I'm not moving, I can set the focus, I don't need to change the focus because I'm not moving very much. But if I'm out and about with the camera and I'm taking stills, for example, with the 600d T3i, if I need to do some video, I use my mobile phone, because that does a lot better job, I think, of just doing quick HD video. So I don't like focusing in movie mode. I'm also not very fond of the white balance in movie mode as well, the auto white balance. What I've tend to found is that if you set auto white balance, it'll look really good to start off with, but then as the clip goes on, it loses it, and it will go off white things. I don't know if it's because as the sensor heats up, it changes colour slightly, or it's just the fact that different things are happening in the scene and it's constantly adjusting. So I think that could be better, and it is tricky to get a really good white balance, I've found in videos. Now, it might not be the camera's fault, because I'll do a custom white balance with a grey card, and then when I take it into post-processing, it's still not quite right. Maybe it's the lights I use, because I mean, you can see in this video the white balance isn't great, but I think the white balance could be better. Again, in movies, the fact that it has this sort of 10-minute or 4GB limit on your HD videos as well is a right pain. So you've always got to keep an eye on how long you're recording for. And my rule of thumb is 10 minutes, well, 9 minutes. I won't record for longer than 9 minutes. I then stop and then start again. It's not really that much of an issue, because you should be breaking up what you're doing into chunks anyway, because it's more easily watchable by your audience. But it would be nice if it could carry on. And I guess one of the biggest pains is when you are using this lovely screen, when you're outside in very bright sunlight, it can be difficult to see what's going on. And if again you're trying to focus in bright light, it makes it virtually impossible, because you lose track of subjects as well. And you're like, oh, where's it gone? And you've got to try to zoom in and focus. So I'm not too fond of that either. I just had a quick thing in focusing in live mode. When you're taking stills isn't too bad, because you can go to quick focus, where basically it flips the mirror up, and then uses the proper autofocus system to focus, and then it puts it back into live mode. So that's no problem. But it's if you've got live mode on continuously, that's when focusing can be a little bit tricky. So they're the things I don't like about the camera. But overall, I am so chuffed. I'm so pleased that I got the 600d T3i at Christmas, and the fact that, remember, I got it with a 40mm 2.8 lens free as well was just a bigger bonus. It's really given my photography a kick up the pants to have a new camera. I know it shouldn't really make a difference, but when you get a new piece of kit, you do, because you go out and you experiment more and you try different things. And also the fact that I've been able to dabble in HD video properly for the first time, I think has really inspired me to record more stuff for YouTube and for you guys and girls out there to kind of share my experience as I learn as an amateur photographer to get better with reviews and things on different kits. So overall, loves and hates, there we are. I've got to say though, I love my 600d T3i. I'm so glad I got it. It's a fantastic camera, and it's a great tool. And if you're thinking about buying one, don't hesitate. They really are great. My name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. If you like the videos, please subscribe. Please put some comments down below. You can email me, scalespeed@gmail.com, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.